up your dice, put your counters down. The greatest convention is coming to town. Generals, commanders, tacticians unite. Wargameron' is calling, come join the fight. Move your counter and roll the dice. Come on, roll it once or twice. Every battle, every game. Nothing will ever be the same. Tables are waiting, the maps are laid out. Strategy, history, that's what it's about. Hundreds of players, one legendary place. Wargameron', come take your place. Move your counter and roll the dice. Come on, roll it once or twice. Every battle, every game. Nothing will ever be the same. Move your counter and roll the dice.
Hello guys, welcome to second day of our big convention Wargameron' in Teresin, in close to Warsaw. Main event in Polish board games community, and we are on the main hall, so you can see a lot of noise, but we try to make suppress the noise, and you can hear us well. And we are here with another title from the Buka games, Prelude to the Blitzkrieg 96 in Romania, and we are together with the designer and all stuff from the Buka. So here is the Paul, yes,
Yeah.
and Federico,
Yeah.
Michael, and Greg will be joined, I think so. So all of us from the Buka is working. No, Michael, not Greg, and you. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this game. Let's introduce this game for us.
Okay. Welcome everybody. And so this is our game of the Romanian campaign that extends from August till December 1916. The scale is 10 kilometers per hex. As you can see, it's quite a large area of the campaign.
Now you can see only half of the map.
Aha.
Not to the all. So we see the half of the map.
Yeah, you can only imagine how big this map is if you're only seeing half of it. But yeah, it's 10 kilometers per hex. The hexes will be 21.5 millimeters. As you know, VUCA is really emphasizes the quality of components, so we're going to have a little bit bigger hexes. That's standard for them. Each day is each turn is 2 days, and every 3 days, then we have what's known as a strategic phase. So that kind of sets the pace of the game, in that you move and fight, and then you have a period where you get more ammunition and replacements, and also reinforcements come in at that time. So basically about once a week. Okay. As you can see, so there we go. Here we have some, the armies are actually organized very much as they were in real life. We have what are known as area of operations for the armies, and the armies that are assigned to a certain area need to operate within them. Those are shown by these markers like this. I'm sure in the final game they may look a little bit different than this, but for example, this is the Romanian Third Army. The headquarters is here in Bucharest, and then and then all the way over here is the other border. So this is the Romanian Third Army area of operations. Okay, that's important for logistics, for supply, because the units that are assigned here to this army can only use these rail lines or they can actually get supply from the Danube along ports, but they can only utilize the ones that end within their AO, their area of operations. We did that to try to keep it realistic, that the players play somewhat the way that historically the armies operated, because if you don't, you can get a bit of wildly differing results, because people will move units in a way that they couldn't move, you know.
So blue forces is which one? Romanian?
Yeah, these are the Romanians, are these dark blue here. I think we can see, yeah, the Bulgarians are the brown. And these are some Russian troops, they're dark green. And then I think if we extend up, these are the Austrians, the dark gray with white. And all right, we have one lone German down here. This guy was historically attached to the Bulgarian Third Army, which is the one that made the offensive through this area here. The army group commander down in this area for the Central Powers was von Mackensen. I think a lot of people might be familiar with his name, a very, very, very successful German commander, and extremely aggressive. And as soon as Romania declared war, Bulgaria came across the border and pushed up this way to try to clear this whole area. This area historically had belonged to Bulgaria before, and Romania took it away after the Second Balkan War. So there were some very, very hard feelings and some very hard fighting down in this area. Okay, good. Let's talk a little bit about command. I think, there we go, good. This is one of our command charts or order charts, and it goes literally as a normal chain of command does. Each one of the levels has a commander who's rated on how effective he is on persuading his subordinates to follow his guidelines and his orders. This is the chief of staff of the Romanian army. He in turn is in charge of the issuing orders to the Romanian Third Army. Again, that's the guys we saw over here. This commander for the Romanian Third Army historically was very ineffective. He was a weak commander, we would say. And so he has a very, very low rating when it comes to issuing orders down chain. This is the Russian corps commander from the area over here that we talked about. And he had a very, very, very strong personality. So the players roll. You roll one 20-sided die. And basically, if you have 11 through 20, they follow the orders. If it's above that, if it's below that, sorry, from 1 to 10, they disobey. So what the way we've tried to show the personalities and how it affected the campaign is that each of these leaders can have two different objectives. They have an obey objective. This is basically the objective that's being passed down. And in this case, I think we can see it, it's here. So the Romanian High Command wants the Russians to move this way and support the Romanians over here, historically.
So Russians with the Romanian, if someone don't know.
Yes, that's true. Yeah. The sides are, I should have explained that. So the sides are, you have the Russians and the Romanians versus the Bulgarians, the Germans, and the Austro-Hungarians, right?
Axis powers.
Central powers.
Central powers.
Yeah. No worries. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, I should have explained that. So each of the commanders has two objectives. He has an obey and a disobey objective. It's quite simple.
But I can see that the commanders are very influenced of the core three forces can perform. Yes.
That is correct, because during the campaign, this guy disobeyed over and over again when they ordered him to advance. They wanted him to advance this way. He was afraid that because he didn't trust the Romanians, that he would become extended out here and be destroyed. Mm-hmm. So if he disobeys, then he gets his personal objective, and these are given in the scenarios, is objective A. And objective A, as you guys can see, is exactly the opposite direction. Mm-hmm. So when this comes into effect, then he won't go this way. Yeah. He will, if he moves, you can keep him stationary. You have a little bit of levity. We didn't want to make a game where you have an army that's completely out of control. That's too much. But he can stay stationary, but if he moves, then he needs to move that he's a hex closer to here.
Objective.
Yeah, because he wanted to withdraw this way because he felt safer and he wanted to stay near the Russian supply, which came by sea through Constanza here. Yeah.
Here's the Constance. Okay.
Okay.
The
So
Black Sea.
yeah, so the command portion of this is very, very important because in the actual campaign it was critical. On the Axis side as well, the Bulgarian commander, we don't have that set up, but the Bulgarian commander was very, very stubborn. And often Mackinson would tell him, I need you to advance faster, I want you to advance faster, and he would drag his feet, he would slow down. So he has the propensity, he has the normal way of procrastinating, of not doing what you ask him to do. So if you give a command and the guy refuses the obey command, so let's say he even obeys and he doesn't want to do it, he moves only at half his movement. So he moves in the right direction, but he only moves half of his movement. So we felt this was really, really important to emphasize in the game. Okay. We also have naval forces. They're abstracted, but these are Russian and Austrian, like river monitors, which can port units along the Danube. The Black Sea units of the Russians can support the Romanians as they fight over here.
Okay.
Historically, they did a lot of shore bombardment, and so they can support these guys here as well. Okay, good. Kind of keeping, let's see, which one is best? Is it okay if we look at this one?
Yes.
Okay. This is an army chart. So this is the army chart for the 3rd Romanian Army. And
So every army has this chart.
yes. Yeah, there are not so many in the game. I think there's altogether maybe 12 armies, but any one time there may be 4 to 6 on the map. Excuse me. The Bulgarians, for example, only have 1 army. The Romanians only have 4, so there's not a lot. But this is used to track the subordination of the units. So what we do with this is that we help the armies perform the way they did historically by limiting their supply. And again, because they have a radius from each one of the headquarters on the map. Here I think we can see, this is the, Yep, there we go. This is the Russian one, for example. He has a range of 4. So his guys can operate in an arc like this. And then over here, you can see that these are his units attached to the 47th Corps, which is in turn attached to the 3rd Army. So this is how the players track subordination, which is supply, and also the ammunition points. So these round discs, at least for right now, in our concept, this is a mock-up. This is really our playtest model. You track how many APs, ammunition points, that each one of the corps has based on this color coding. Like the 47th Corps is blue. So if I was to use some of these in combat, I might take them down to here. And the amount of APs you got is important for combat because if you don't spend ammunition, then you get a very big negative penalty, a negative DRM. And logistics were super, super important during the campaign. There was a lack of ammunition on almost all sides, and that really set the pace of the game. For the Bulgarians, especially down in this area, they really lacked artillery shells. And when they were in their campaign, they did quite well. And then they got up to this fortified line, this Romanian fortified line, and they really got stuck here for almost 6 weeks. And in that 6 weeks, they were waiting for shells. Their Ministry of War basically asked the Germans to send them more shells. They eventually did, and they came via the rail lines through Serbia all the way over here.
Is represented in this chart.
Yeah, exactly. So they would be there. They would come in on the strategic. This is the overall thing. This is not for the Bulgarians, but in general. The strategic, when the ammunition points come into the game, they go here first, and then they would be moved during the strategic phase via rail to the headquarters too. And this shows how the logistic system worked in the First World War and how absolutely critical the rail lines were. Yeah. So
trace path of supply by the railways.
You do. They have to go back to, let's see, I don't know if we can see one, but like up here, no. But they have to go to what's called an ultimate supply source. Can you see? You can see here, I think. Yeah. So for for the Bulgarians, it's here, and yeah, and so this goes from here all the way to Serbia, and then all the way up eventually to Germany. But we don't look at that. We only look that this is what's called an ultimate supply source. And for your men to stay in supply, they have to be connected to an ultimate supply source. You have to keep the rail. It can't be broken. There can't be an enemy unit there or something like this. It's very First World War centric, and but it's critical. Without it, it would not be historic.
But my question is, this is system you go I go or random chip system? How it?
Yeah, good question. No, it's mostly I go, you go. So it's very it's set. The sequence is very, very set. And it's set in a certain order. Again, we felt that would be historical in showing the flow of supplies, reinforcements, recovery from disruption or from taking losses, and also again the transmission of orders via this thing. So, but there are a lot of phases that are joint. So some of the phases are joint, so both players are active at the same time. It depends. Like
You limit some kind of
some phases or some actions are single. Like movement is by the phasing player, of course. Combat's by the phasing player. Rail movement, strangely enough, is joint, both because it's considered more of a strategic activity. So both players plot it and execute it at the same time. There's really, I would say, 3 layers of activity in the game. You've got more the tactical or grand tactical, and that's combat. That's combat between the units and what's going on. Above that, you've got operational, and operational would include the orders and things like this. And then you have strategic, and the strategic would be rail movement and naval movement.
and I can see that there is only a rail, there is no roads. Yes,
There are no roads. Only roads are here in the mountains.
in the mountain.
Yeah, because we didn't think it cluttered up the map too much to show the rail network and the clear hexes, because there were quite a few roads. And really, to be quite honest, it was a design decision because at one point there were roads, but there were roads everywhere. And the difference between road movement and moving in the open was not that great, and it cluttered up the map incredibly. So we decided to assume there's some type of road net present. Also, the rails act as roads because almost every single one of them has a road next to it anyway.
Yeah.
But up in the mountains, then the roads are shown separately.
That's more important in the mountain than in flat area.
Yes, absolutely. Because non-mountain units, let's go up here. I think you can still hear me okay,
Yes.
yeah? All right, so up here in the mountains, this is really critical terrain, as you can see from what we've got here on the map. The mountains extend in a big arc. And yeah, thank you. Yeah, the Romanians, so the Romanian offensive, when they start in August, their idea was that they wanted to take Transylvania, which is up in this area, and then they wanted to consolidate their position and advance towards Budapest. So step 1 would be here, then 2, and then onward. So they need to cross the mountains, and that's very, very difficult for them because there are passes here. They're very narrow. They're constrained tactically. You have a lot of disadvantages if you attack through them. And non-mountain units can only trace supply into a mountain hex, never through it. So later in the game, when the Germans come in and the Austro-Hungarians come in with all of their mountain divisions, they have a huge advantage because they can operate freely up in these mountains. And it was an important thing for them. The Central Powers learned a lot during this offensive, and I like to say it was a dress rehearsal for Caporetto in 1917, because almost all the mountain units that fought here fought later in Caporetto. And the Germans worked a lot on their logistics and tactical innovations based on what they learned here in the Carpathians. Yeah. So it's really important as well. This kind of goes back into the logistics again. Both sides need to get over these mountains. And this was a real problem for both sides. For the Romanians going out, and then the Central Powers when they gathered their strength and came back. The eventual thing that happened, or the eventual thing when the Axis, I'm sorry, I always say the Axis, like the Central Powers, one army wore off, is they advanced through here. They ended up breaking through here, and then they advanced south like this, and then they turned and went this way. At the same time, this combined army of Mackensen crossed the river here, south of Bucharest, and then advanced this way. And then they met up here, and then they combined together up and to come up this area. The Romanians desperately wanted to save their army. Their national goal became the survival of their armed forces, a little bit like the Belgians as well. And so their priority went from fighting to trying to evacuate, and they evacuated as much of their army as they could here, and they sheltered behind the Russians. Because at that time, the Russians start on the north of the map. We can't quite see them there, but they have pretty large forces, and they kept extending by steps down until they occupied the front from here all the way up to the north. And probably a lot of people don't know, but the Russian portion of this front at the end of the Romanian campaign was as long as all the rest of the Eastern Front. So it was kind of a disaster for the Russians, because the Romanians came in and then got almost knocked out, and the Russians ended up with a front twice as long as they had before. So strategically, it was a disaster for the Russians. Yeah? Yes, as always. Okay. You want to talk a little bit, or maybe?
Yeah, you can. I mean, but you're doing a great job. Just to remind everybody that this is
You are.
I'm Federico. I'm developing. I'm helping with the development of the game, and this is the second game on the series that was started by Nach Paris, 1914.
So the first game is Nach Paris.
Nach Paris is the first game. It's by Bertrand de Mounier. Yeah.
It's
But
modified
the
quite a lot.
mechanics-
Wait. So that's
Yeah.
the problem. Is it's if you know Nach Paris, you will have an easier time learning this one. Let's say it like this. The rules had to change profoundly because the campaign is profoundly different. First, in these two intervening years between 1914 and 1916, there were very, very technological, high, very deep technological and also logistical changes on how the armies worked. In particular for the German army, I think it was, you can really not use a model that it was made for 1914 in 1916 and reproduce the historical situation. So because of that, the game system is heavily modified, and there is a much heavier focus on logistics in particular. Yeah, you can comment.
We can work together. One of the things that we really had to change, and Bertrand is aware of that, when he was gracious enough to give me his files for his game and really kind of bless the project. One of the things we talked a lot about, and he said as well, was in 1914, the corps were kind of set. So basically, most of the corps fought in the pre-war organization that they had. So if it was the first corps, it had the first and second division, and they tended to fight that way through the whole campaign. By 1916, the armies were much, much more flexible, and this is what has spawned or brought on this idea of these army charts. We needed to be able to allow the players to move the formations between the armies because they weren't as rigid as in 1914. And this added some overhead to the game.
Yeah.
But we had to. We couldn't just ignore it. We couldn't pretend it was the same as in 1914. So that's the reason why we have these rather extensive, the army charts here, because you can transfer the formations. These go in here, but they could transfer over to here, for example.
We could change during the strategic phase. For example, you could change the subordination of a corps to another army, if you, or a formation to another
So
core.
maybe let's switch to example of the turn. Maybe let's show us on the map
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
some how the flows, how the movement, combat. Yeah, so let's place maybe.
Yeah,
we can do that.
That's a
Yeah.
great idea.
You
What do you
could, we
think?
could do the assault on Turtukaya.
Yes. So this what we have set up here is the campaign map, but in the game we will also offer like several scenarios, shorter scenarios that are playable in much less time. And in particular, the first scenario, or one of the first scenario, is the initial advance of the Bulgarians on these two forts, Turtukaya and Silistra.
So this one will be interesting for
Yeah.
us to see how it works.
Yeah. So this is basically the scenario is called Bulgaria attacks, and the first player the player that has the initiative that starts playing is the Bulgarian player, and but first, like the first thing we do is, the weather is fixed for this, no? But we could
But we
say
can
a
talk
little bit.
We can talk a little bit
you can
about the
present
weather.
the weather.
You can show the weather chart, right?
Yes.
We can
Yes.
show this.
We can go to the weather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
All right. You
No.
can talk and I can make more.
Microphone kids, but this is a big game, so
No worries. Okay, so this is the weather chart, and there are
okay. We can.
yeah. So what Federico is pointing to is the weather chart, and we have different levels of elevation in the game. You can see the different colored. There we go. Okay. You can see the different layers of on the map. Yeah, we got a little bit of reflection there. There you go. Okay, I think that's a little bit better. So, okay. So each of the elevations in the game has a weather, or actually I should say it has a weather, but it also has a ground condition. So using Federico, can you kind of pick up the weather thing and show them? Just kind of bring it over. There you go. So these are the weather charts, and they look a little bit scary, but they're really easy to use. You just roll 2 dice, you determine the temperature, and you determine the precipitation condition. It's either heavy precipitation, light precipitation. It's either warm, mild, hot, whatever. And these are based on the historical weather data from the time period from this area. So after you determine the temperature, you determine the precipitation, you go onto the chart there, and the big numbers, there are big numbers in the boxes. It's kind of like pointy-talkie. It's very simple. They tell you how many transitions you need to make on the condition, which is on the bottom of the chart there. Those are the ground conditions. So if it's dry, so let's just talk about it in real practical terms. If it's dry and it rains a lot and it's warm, then probably what would happen, I mean, you'd have a transition of 2, and you would move the ground condition from dry 1 to dry 2 to mud. And
So
if
it means that after rain weather, next day could be mud still.
yes,
It will be sunny, but it will be mud.
well, it depends. So it's every 2 days. So we run it on a cycle of every 2 days. But let's say in your example, it rains and it moves from clear or dry 1 or dry 2, which is like clear. It moves to mud. If the next turn it's warm and the precipitation level is 0, it doesn't rain, it's not snowing or whatever it could be doing, then it begins to dry. And if it's really hot, so if it's hot, it dries faster than if it's medium. And it varies by the elevation. So what is hot in the plains down at the bottom might be mild temperatures. It's just like real life. It really is. I call it
You
the...
said that there will be different weather outcome from the plains on the mountains. Yes?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because the weather was so critical during the campaign. Because the Central Powers, one of the reasons they pushed so hard was they were worried that snow would block the passes. And so they had to push very hard to try to get through before the beginning of the year or the end of the year, before the passes got blocked with snow. And we needed to have that effect for the players. Plus, we wanted to show what an important part weather played. Because also in the later parts of the campaign, when the Central Powers were advancing this way, this was all mud. This was all mud through here. They had really a lot of rainy weather, and so they really had to slog their way through here. It really slowed them down. They became extremely exhausted, and by the time they reached up here, they were done. They were absolutely exhausted. They wanted to cross this major river here into Moldova. They couldn't do it. They didn't have the power because they were too worn out from this muddy weather. So it's very, very, very important. So the first thing you do in the turn is you determine the weather. We play in this one is set for the first turn is clear.
So now it's clear and nothing changed the game.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Let me tell you what I'll do. Let me go grab.
Spicy weather.
So we have a sequence of play coming right our way. Isn't it there?
1 second, we looking for the here and we can see.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So like the carrots or
Here, yes. So this is sequence of the page.
Yes, this is a sequence of play. The first turn there is no strategic phase, so we go immediately.
Here.
Yeah, we go immediately to the operational phase, the weather segment, and then all these things are not part of the first turn of the scenario, so we jump directly to the first player phase, and the player should establish what is the supply situation. For this scenario, starting in full, everything is in full supply.
There's
We
always
go-
no control of
There are zone of control. They are weak zone of control, so they don't like the. In principle, movement becomes more expensive.
through the railway lines. If I correctly remember.
Sorry.
The Zog of line of sight, that line of supply or something like that.
Yes.
Go to the railway and go to outside the.
Yeah. Okay. So these are the lines of supply. They use the rail lines. Yes. Through the rail lines, you make sure to send supply to the HQs, and the HQs distribute supply to the first to army HQs, and then from the army HQs you have a certain range in which you can give supply to the core HQs,
And
Yeah.
then core exclusive.
and the core HQs give supply the
How
units.
many
Yes.
spaces you need to?
Well, it's done by distance. And
Distant movement.
yeah. But yeah, initially all this is in supply. So if there is anything you want to comment. So in the case of the Bulgarians, now we have this 4th division, and everything that is around it, as you see, is under supply, and it's being supplied by this HQ of the 4th division. The HQ of the 1st division is supplying all this in red, and also this cavalry unit that is like an independent attachment to the core, and the 6th division has this big unit in supply. Voila. And all of them are being supplied in by the HQ of the Third Army.
Then we move to the railway.
And this one, as the Bulgarians will advance, I will need to rail move the HQ of the army. Yes, yes.
But the Army HQs always have to remain on an active operational rail line, or they can be in an operational cord. So
Yes.
they're really we would say, the umbilical cord. They're really the line that can never be broken.
So you
from
cannot
the rail
move
line.
here. Yes?
No, it's
Only here.
as you say, it has an R. Maybe as you maybe can see, it has an R, which means they can only move by rail. Yeah.
Why don't you
Yeah.
talk about the truck that's underneath there and explain how that works?
So this heavily canalizes lines of offensive, right?
Yes, there will be choke points on the rail lines for sure.
And what is the chain of supply from the HQ? Like how far will they reach?
Movement.
Yeah, well, so actually it's in hexes. It's,
Yeah, here
it's
is
four
four
hexes.
hexes. It's written there. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And then four hexes
Four
from the
hexes, yeah,
core
sorry.
to for the unit. So it's about 80 kilometers from the rail line,
Yeah.
which again is somewhat historical. It's different for each army.
Yeah.
The Germans and the Austrians can go a little bit further. The Russians and the Bulgarians a little bit shorter, and the Romanians are even shorter more.
Exactly.
And these are all based on historical research, and we didn't just make them up. It's really that we looked and saw what they can do. And by the way, so like for the APs, for the ammunition, that's based really on the tonnage capability that these different supply systems were able to move. We really looked at it. All the data is there. We could look at how many tons they could transport, and it was pretty easy to figure out because, like all logistical systems, it was very standardized because you want everything to fit together. You don't want that you dump shells that you can't move and things like that. Explain the truck.
Yeah.
That works.
So in this case, we have also a track unit by the Third Army HQ, and track units can be used in different way. They can supply units like I can use a track unit to supply unit that is further away. So in this case, they extend by one the range of the HQ. That's not the only way in which they can use. They
can also move more shells.
Yes.
So
So-
you can either supplement the range
Yeah.
or you can supplement what's known as distribution
Exactly.
capacity,
Yeah,
and that allows you to move more shells to the front.
yeah. It's-
And the really one of the biggest things I really wanted to show in the game was how critical motorized transport was in the thing, in the whole campaign. It's one of the reasons why they called it the Prelude to Blitzkrieg, was because the amount of truck units, especially on the central power side, was tremendous. And they used literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of trucks to move tons of supplies because they couldn't repair the rails fast enough. And so the only reason the Germans advanced almost 800 kilometers from end to end of Romania, the only reason they could do that was because of trucks.
Okay.
So they're very critical in the game to the players. And we've abstracted it, of course. We've got it just that. And again, it's based on actual tonnage that they could lift.
yeah, yeah.
So simplifies, I think so we're done to introduce this.
Yes, yes,
So
We love supply.
yes. Once you check everything is in supply, you also need to make sure that you distribute the ammunition. Like at the beginning, everything is supply because we have two kinds of supply in this game: general supply, which is like
Ammunition.
an ammunition, and HQs are distributed in both. The ammunition is
okay, so from the army you can
Yeah.
distribute between corps.
Yes, and we distribute both. Like the general supply is a bit more abstracted. We only need to check the ranges and check
Now we
that
have
things.
two corps.
We have three corps here for the Bulgarians, like this, with the 4th, the 1st, and the 6th.
How we distribute this?
Uh,
How does
So they start with here. If you go to this
Yes.
side, everything starts at maximum
level.
ammunition level. But once we use ammunition attacking, we need
drop
to we need to use the ammunition that is stored in the HQ to replenish the ammunition of the unit.
Step.
Yeah, exactly. So that's it. And now it's if you go to the after the supply phase, if we go to the
I think you can move.
basically it's the movement phase, and the movement is governed by this number. So each unit will have a movement value. Cavalry units, cavalry units have higher. Yeah, the numbers are like as in Paris, so it's a scale that is bigger than in most war games. Yeah, 80 seems like a lot, but of course we have a chart where we show the how much it costs each movement, and of course like a normal movement will cost a movement through clear terrain will cost 10 movement points.
With the dry weather.
Yeah, with dry weather. When there is mud, then it will be more, 15 or
So let's say
etc.
in the dry weather is 8 hexes. Yes, in the
Exactly.
clear.
Yes. In this is not clear. This is forest, but in
We can use roads, and roads I think so.
roads will also be 10. Yes, exactly. It's like
So
open.
easy to divide this.
Yeah. Except that sometimes, it doesn't.
What it basically is it's a device that we don't use fractional movement.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah. We make the number bigger, and then when there are
But
small
the
effects.
last value is 5 or 2 plus 2.
Yeah, this is sometimes you can have like an X side. Some hex sides will have an effect on the movement.
Like here, this
For
is plus
example.
2.
Yeah. For example, in this moment, like there is clear, but with a broken
So moving,
limit. Yeah.
Moving from here to here
Yeah.
is 12.
It's 12 exactly.
10
yeah.
for the clear and
Yeah.
plus 2 for the hex side.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're ready to play.
Yeah. I always
Yeah, I can see it.
So what these guys did, like the Bulgarians actually did, was like try to attack here first
Yes, he wants
to
attack.
Kaya. Yes.
Show us how
So
to
they
do it.
just moved there, and of course now is that you have to take into account the zone of control effects. Zone of controls will will modify the cost of moving. Like when you try to
Enter to the
enter a zone of
exit
control,
also?
no, to exit is okay.
No, okay.
Only enter. So when you have like zone of controls can be stronger or weaker depending on the size of the unit. We have several unit sizes, but in general they will imply an additional cost in movement points. And
And if you move into a strong zone of control, you have to stop.
you can move
You're done.
into it, but you cannot keep moving. Yeah.
And this is to keep the players from being able to do we're all war gamers. We're all gamers. And one of the things we like to do is if we see a big stack of units, we want to infiltrate around them. This keeps people from doing that.
Yeah. This having this, yeah.
So I think so now on this city there will be strong.
Yes, this will be a strong zone of control. So yeah.
Of units
Yeah.
there.
So what the Bulgarians will do is to approach, but then they will stop, and I will do it like this. Of course, then for example, this guy can do like this. You want to surround it to be sure. Here in this stock, we have like some artillery units that can also join
There
the
is
attack.
stacking techniques.
There is a bit of stacking within that has to take into account no, sorry.
Well, there's different stacking based on the terrain.
Yes.
So, like in mountains, of course, it's much lower. In the passes, it's lower. In swamp, it's lower. It just shows that there's less area that you can use to deploy. Clear, of course, is really good and really high. There's also transit levels between the hexes, and that's a direct carryover from Paris. And that's just to show that you can't send 17 divisions across one hex side. So it's a little bit of a limiter. It's pretty easy to make sure that you don't do it, but there are transit limits to some of the hex sides. Again, narrow passes, the transit limit is very low. It's only 5 steps. That means basically you can move one full-size division.
So you need to look over about the stack when
Yes.
moving units.
Yes.
You do.
You need to
Yeah,
take take care of.
I mean, in clear, it's 24 steps.
Yeah.
24 steps is a lot.
Yeah.
That's like 6 divisions. But in the mountains, it's really because what it does is reflects the length of the marching columns.
Yeah.
And a division in the mountains might have a marching column of 40 kilometers. So,
We can imagine.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
We are wargamers, we know.
Yeah.
Okay, let's continue.
Yes.
So all movements are
So-
doing something.
So here I will attack here, and of course the first division will also try to approximate Silistra, which is the second objective of the.
So forest is how many movement points?
Yeah, forest is a bit more. It's like 15 if it's dry.
15.
So I can approach this cavalry unit if I want with this one. This one doesn't have enough movement points to attack.
You can move him up
15.
underneath the artillery to
Uh,
attack because he's actually attached to the
Yes.
4th Division.
And 45, but
Which
then
one?
turning to the
which artillery? Sorry.
So this brigade is actually attached to the 4th Division, so he can attack with them. So he could move here, for example, and then you got a lot more firepower trying to take the fortified.
Okay,
position.
yeah. I didn't remember the attachment thing. So this could go here, in fact, and this one is here, like this. Yeah.
And how about objectives? Are they all always fixed within this scenario?
Yes.
Or
Well,
there is some determination.
the scenarios will usually come with objectives, and in this case, it will be geographical objectives. So
Because you have objective markers.
Yeah, we talked on the beginning, but
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Okay.
Yeah,
so-
no,
Well,
it's
no,
good.
Greg, it's a good question.
It's a good
You
question.
will be able, so as the commander, you will be able to change the objective somewhat. So this objective for this guy is when he disobeys. This is what he wants to do. That's why it's under the disobey thing. When he doesn't do what you want, he goes this way. When he does what you want, he goes that way. It's pretty binary, put it that way. But during the thing, as the commander, you could change this. You could say, okay, I don't need him to advance here. I want him to advance here. And during the orders phase, you would be able to move this, and then this becomes his obey objective. This becomes his disobey objective. This you can't change. This is his preference. This is what he wants to do. Some leaders, because they're not so contrary, this guy was very, very argumentative, may not even have one. And so if he obeys, he does exactly what you want, and he moves full speed all the time. If he disobeys, he only has half of his movement. He still moves where you want him to, but he drags his feet. Oh, I'm sorry, I've got supply problems, I can't advance, things like that.
You make check before every activation.
You check once a turn. Yeah.
That's brilliant.
It goes fast. It goes really fast because there's not that many leaders, and the chain of command is pretty limited. And we've only included the leaders who had an effect on the campaign. We didn't put everybody in there. There's no reason to. So these are the big stars of the campaign.
That's absolutely brilliant. I love this. I love this idea.
But I mean, it's great. Like this is not. I mean, this you can change the objective as the commander in chief, but the scenario rules will have an like.
That is
It's not
absolutely
like
right.
I have to go here. I won. Like, you know, the scenario will say like the Bulgarians have to take these 2 forts, for example, because it's important. It was strategically important.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, we also don't want the players to be overwhelmed in the beginning. I've
Yeah.
played games where they're like set 3 strategic objectives, and I'm like, I have no idea what I want to do.
Yeah.
You know, we want to guide the players along by using historical
Yeah.
objectives to help as well. And you also learn that way. You learn that for the Bulgarians, the big thing was Mackinson wanted to wipe out these fortified zones because he wanted his flank clear so he could clear this and eventually cover the Danube. So Federico's right. It's both. It's both.
You will able to get for sure get players that will find some gamey bits
Yeah,
and
sure.
exploit them. If you may make a pause for 1 minute for what happened there.
Yeah.
We have a rule that the German player doesn't get a lot of reinforcements as long as Soviet units do not enter the German border.
Sure.
So like the Hitler waits for the Soviets to get to the Germany.
Yeah.
And the guys were like, how many units? 5? Okay. The whole Soviet front sitting next to the German border because
Waiting,
now you
yeah.
can get reinforcements. So we had to make some changes. But they will always
find a way.
That one will be gamey
They will
to the
find a
extreme.
way to, yeah. So to finalize this turn, we will also like move these units that are with the 6th division will try to go also east to approach the border with Romania here. And
Like our flank.
well, eventually they want to attack these people, but for now they are only approaching. Let's say like this.
The cavalry has a very important screening
Yeah.
effect in the game. It's really important because if you move next to them, you could try to engage them. It's called an engagement during the mobile thing. Actually, here is...
Yeah.
Yeah, the mobile engagement table is... There we go, is here. And it's based straight on odds. It's very, very simplified, very quick. But basically, either you succeed or you don't succeed. If you succeed, the guy needs to move out of the hex. If you don't, you're locked into a mandatory attack. But cavalry is really important. Altogether on the map, there's about 23 or 24 cavalry divisions altogether. This was kind of like the last hurrah for cavalry during the war.
Yes. No. It's great. And then, importantly, if you want to execute attacks, you need to spend movement points because, of course, it takes some organization and declare them, and you have to make sure you have enough movement points. 10 for a normal attack.
Movement points, so it means that move to the hex.
No, you are moving. Exactly. Like
Okay.
Yeah. So now let's say I know because I already played this many times. I have enough to attack here, have enough to attack here, and I have enough, and that's it. So there will be one big attack and a small attack.
So let's resolve the small attack first.
Yep, sure.
But the next question is the small attack.
Yeah. So we can like the attacker chooses which one goes first. The small attack is here, and the way we do it is just like we just need to first see the terrain. The terrain is forest, and this will, in principle, it can lead to a like a DRM. I'm not.
Yeah, it's on the next
It's on the other.
There you go.
Yes. So we have a combat DRM. Sorry. We have a combat DRM for terrain. So as we see forest, there is an hexite DRM and a hex DRM. The hex DRM is +6, and plus the hex side it will be +8.
Okay. So you count both.
Yeah.
We have +8 because of forest.
Yes.
So now we have to count the strength of the.
Yes, and now we will have. Both these units are attacking, so we will add up their strength. They are part of the same division, so they can coordinate their attack. Otherwise, there will be a DRM like for not coordinated attack. But we are like we plan this so that it is coordinated, and it will be 26 attacking against a very sad 2 on defense. And
So there's infantry, yes.
it's 2 infantry attacking a cavalry, yes. In principle, the cavalry could do things, but in this case,
He could withdraw before combat.
we could try to withdraw before combat, but because we are trying to do the combat procedure,
13 to 1.
Yeah, that's bad.
yeah,
But modify +6, the +8 is something.
+8 is after the roll. So we
Yeah,
have it here.
all the die rolls in the game are based on the D20.
Yes.
So all the
This is a big thing.
so
yeah.
this is the CRT from Knock Paris.
Yeah.
This is absolutely unchanged.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So if the CRT, it's like we look like what are the odds?
or
If
more.
it's 7 or more to 1, and then we roll D20. You can roll it and tell me a number.
Well, yes.
D20. Yeah.
When
Just one.
you can roll here.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So it's a 1, which is a very good, like lowest good.
Is it exactly the same CRT as in Paris?
Yes,
Exactly the same.
yeah.
The only thing that's done differently is that the losses are are applied per combat and not per unit.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not quite as bloody because in 1914 the combat was
Yeah.
quite a bit different, and the casualty rates were as much as 3 to 4 times higher. So yeah.
So in Paris, each hit is like you apply it to all units. In our game, is each hit applies to 1 unit. Defenders
We roll 1 plus
plus 8 is a 9. Yeah, exactly. 9 in the here, let's say. So it's like 3 obligatory hits and then a check, but it's very dead by then. No, in fact, no. The defender can take the hits in different ways. One is that it can retreat. This takes care of one of the hits. So, for example, they could retreat.
One hit.
That would be 1 hit. It could retreat twice even. So that would take care of a second hit. Let's say, let's say it goes home. But now let's say no, because it's a
What about the
cavalry.
third hit?
Then the third hit is something is that it can get disrupted. And the disruption is like it's also a way we found to, like the step losses during testing were too high using this CRT. So we found that if we added a disruption mechanism, we could lower this to make it more realistic or more historical. And disruption is like a minor loss that can be recovered. No, it's like it represents a bit a moral hit and a bit of like some minor losses, but not a full step. And then after the 3, it comes a check, and the check is what we call a cap check. A cap represents like the morale of the unit, basically. In this case, it's a 14, and so the unit has to make a cap check, roll a number, and it has to be less than 14, or else it has to take another loss.
And the modifier for the
With a modifier, which 9 is here, it's like minus 11. So its cap is 14, minus 11 will be 3. When I roll, it's a 20, it's really bad. So this one, yes, I need to take it as
1
a,
and 20.
I need to take it as a hit also because of the disruption.
Hit is the flip.
Yes.
Let's play the game. First roll on D20. 1.
Yeah,
Second. 20.
It's true. So this unit basically is dead. It's obviously not what would happen in a competitive game because this cavalry unit would have seen the attack coming and would have said, "Ciao, guys." Much before. But yeah. So
And there is after combat.
yeah, because the unit retreat twice, there could be advance after
Roll
combat.
for the cap for the Bulgarians.
Yes. In fact,
So
that was for
cap
the
check-
defenders.
The cap check takes place on both sides
Yeah.
all the time.
That was for the defenders.
Bulgarians also need to roll.
Yeah, and for the defenders it will be with a +7. Because these units have 15, +7 is a
Automatic.
22, it will be automatic.
Next, what will happen where they not pass this check?
You could take a disruption, for example.
Also, they have
Yeah, they can take a disruption or lose or take a loss. They cannot retreat. Yeah. Oh yes, a coffee will be great. Yeah. Yes. So I let you.
The loss choices for the attacker are always much more limited than for the defender. And one thing with the loss thing, or with the retreat is, if the cavalry unit had retreated twice, then if you retreat more than 1 hex, you have to take another cap check.
Yes.
So it's kind of like this escalation that if you're really retreating, maybe it dissolves into panic. So there would have been another cap check in there too. And Federico's right. We wanted to just give you a demonstration of really quickly how the combat works. But in absolute normal play, this unit would have withdrew before combat. Its purpose is only really to slow down. Yeah, it's to slow down the Bulgarians.
So next they have advance. How many advance?
Yeah.
They pass the check.
Yeah.
They are good shape.
Yep. and that's correct. So they would be able to, they could advance.
Attacking hex or different? Or attacking hex or any hex?
The attacking hex, first one, it was, if it was
Yes,
here, yeah, sorry. Yeah, if it was here, then they have to go there.
And that's it.
And yeah, so infantry can't advance multiple hexes. Cavalry can. Cavalry and armored cars can advance multiple hexes, but they have to follow the retreating unit.
And retreat path.
Yeah, and that's a special capability of cavalry and armored cars.
Okay, but this one infantry, not the cavalry. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, the Bulgarians have really big. So these are actually, they're in the game terms because of the way they function. They're corps. They function exactly like corps, but in reality, they're divisions. The Bulgarians had huge infantry divisions with as many as 28 battalions, whereas a German division at this time would have had 9. So they were like 3 times as big as a normal German division. So we treat them, or I treat them as divisions. It didn't make any sense to make a special rule. So we just have a historical note so the players can learn a little bit about it, but it doesn't make any sense to have a special case for it.
Okay. So we have another combat, that big one,
Yes.
Yeah?
but this time we will use some artillery, I think, for sure. Yes? Or
Yeah.
not?
Yeah, we have some.
Because it's the green, we have 5 artillery shells, yes?
Okay, yeah, should we run through this?
Yes.
then? Excuse me, sorry. Let's we'll fan this out here. So let's see here. There's quite a few, there's some artillery points, there's ammo there in a depot. There's a fortified zone. This is Turtikaya, which was supposed to be impregnable position. And then you've got these 2 Romanian brigades that historically were inside. Then the attacking guys, you've got quite a few things. So if you have enough movement points to place so you can either place a normal or an intensive combat marker. And if you place an intensive combat marker for artillery, then you can use drum fire. And the drum fire factor is a lot higher, and this costs 2 APs. So you have to double your ammunition expense, but you get a lot more points. And this shows the absolute critical importance of artillery during the war. So we're going to play as if the Bulgarians could do this because they could, and we'll do in here. We got a German unit over on this side, along with a couple Bulgarian brigades. Not so good. So how should we do it? You want to add up these guys and I'll add up. Yeah. Let's see. So we add up the CBFs or the artillery factors. It's just the counter in here. So 22, 32, 38, 45, 55, 59, 64. I have 64.
I have 20, but because I'm in a fortress, it's multiplied by 2, no?
No, because you're in a trench, you get that.
Yeah.
But only for the infantry. Only for the infantry. This simply adds its CBF to the thing.
Yeah. So then let me take it again. This is 16.
Yep.
The infantry, I multiply by 2.
Yep, 32.
32 plus 4, 36 plus other 4, 40.
Yep. Okay. Yep, good. And we're here, and I have 65.
Yeah.
So is it
So it's
1.5?
1.5.
1.5 to 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we need to spend artillery there.
Yes.
Yeah, you would take it
I
all
will
off.
I will take, in this case, is from here. So it's the red. I will take 2 because I use the drum fire.
Yeah, and I will do it for the Bulgarians over here. Okay, so I make them off,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
they're all good to go. So we have a 1.5 to 1. There are some different factors here. I'm attacking from 3 hexes. Let's see, right? 1,
Yeah.
2, 3.
Yeah.
So I get a -3 DRM. That's a flanking bonus for having 3 hexes. It's very simple.
It's representing France attack, something like this.
Yeah. So because Nakparis had actual unit facing, but we opted not to do that. We have added a flanking system in here, very simple. It starts at 3 hexes and then 4 hexes, 5 hexes, 6 hexes. It's just -3, 4, 5, 6. It's really simple. Okay. So we have a 1.5 to 1, and I have a -3. And I'm going to declare a coup de main. So the first time you attack a fortified zone, you can declare something that's called the coup de main. This means that you try to storm the fortress with all out.
Yes,
Yeah.
this is what we want to do.
And this means that any losses I take as the attacker have to be taken step losses, but it means any losses, any failed cab checks, anything he does, they have to be taken as retreats.
Yeah.
All right, so let's roll.
Yeah.
See what
The
happens.
modifier is which one?
-3.
Wait, there is also like a modifier because of the terrain, no? Or,
Nope,
no, it's clear.
It's clear. Yep. So just that -3. It's actually pretty simple. We'll see what happens. Oh, wow, that's
Wow.
So we
Minus one,
-1 on 1.5 to 1.
Another good roll for them.
Yeah. So they see attacker +4 and defender one
One loss.
mandatory, and then a check with a +1.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So the attacker checks first.
Yeah.
So let's see, 19. So I'll just go really quickly. 19 pass.
All of them, yeah.
The artillery doesn't roll. Also passed, and also passed. So the troops are pretty good, and it was a good result. So
Yeah. And for me, like I have to take a loss, I will take a step loss with the. No, I can take a. Sorry, I can take a.
retreat, how many loss? What is the outcome of this combat?
It was a -1.
yeah, -1 at 1.5 to 1.
And how
So
many hits? 2 hits, yes.
he one mandatory result
mandatory
and
is
one.
Your coffees.
Oh, thanks.
Which I take as a disruption,
Okay.
and then I have to test every unit. This one is an 11. It's passed with a modifier. Sorry.
Now remember, every mandatory one has to be taken as a retreat.
Yes. It's a
Yeah,
retreat.
sorry. So we've got the coup de main rule, and that one says every mandatory loss has to be taken as a retreat. Every failed cab check has to be taken as a
Yeah,
retreat as
yeah.
well. So
So this one retreats.
One mandatory retreat must be done.
Yeah. And then this one I test with a 10. It's an 18. It's bad, so it has to retreat 2. And that's it.
that's it.
Then the artillery cannot stay.
Yeah, the artillery's by itself.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It dies.
Yep. And you. Where's the guy here? You have to roll for the fortification.
Yes, the fortification troop. It's a 10. It passes unless there is a modifier.
There is. It's +4.
+4
Yeah.
is good.
Yeah. Then he passes.
So it
Okay.
passes. Yeah. So
All right. So these guys have to retreat out, and the artillery can actually stay because this is here. And then you have to take a cap check because you retreat in into a zone of control.
Yes.
You retreat by the, yeah.
Yeah. So I take a cap check for this one. It's lost, so it's disrupted. I'm rolling really badly for this one. Also lost. Yes. So it's also disrupted. And the third one, it's also lost. Also disrupted.
But generally, this you can find in the charts, yes, the table of the.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. This is
Yeah,
in the
they're all
table,
here. Yeah.
Because you are remember everything, so we just speed up.
Yeah, exactly. So the result was the Bulgarians didn't take the fortress on the first storming, but they came very, very close. I have the feeling that the Romanians aren't going to be there much longer, and they'll launch another attack on the next turn, and then they'll take it. Historically, they took it on the first attack, but they took huge losses. They took about 5,000 men losses, so about 2 steps. So you could weigh it. You could say, okay, they're delayed a little bit, but they didn't take as high a losses. Okay.
So after that, the tournament end for this Bulgarian player.
Then it's
Then it would be the Romanian. Yeah.
And then Romania doing the same.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. So I think
Starting from the supply, movement.
Yes. Exactly.
Yep. I think it gives you a pretty good view of how the game, as you can see, so there's a lot of things with here, like the supply and everything, which is very, very important. But the game itself, the movement and the attacking goes really fast. It's basically an old-fashioned war game. You move and you fight. You move and you fight.
And there is no air units, I think so.
No, there were, but I took them out, the overhead for the rules, and they didn't affect the campaign much at all. There were only a couple fighter units down here. They were actually Russian fighter units.
Reconnaissance units.
Yeah, and it didn't make sense to have a page and a half or 2 pages of rules for something that was really very peripheral to the campaign. It was cool. The counters looked great. I really liked it, but it's one of those development things where you say, no, it's too much.
And you, after Romania make his tour, the next tour will start also with the weather roll.
That's correct.
Yes.
Every turn is weather, and then we play 3 turns, and then we have a strategic phase. And strategic phase is when the ammunition comes in from the greater area and gets distributed. And then there's some political things that can happen. There's off-map events you can roll for and stuff
There
like
is
that.
something about the reinforcement, replacement.
Yep, they come in every strategic phase as well. You get so many, and then you can use them to build up the units.
But it will be written in your strategic game scenario.
In a table, there is a table of reinforcements
Yep.
and replacement points.
Yep, there's a table for the whole game. There's not that many replacements in the game. The
Most of
remaining,
them is from
yeah,
the unit.
yep, yeah, and there's a lot of reinforcements that come in. There's very few units on the map to begin with, because the interesting thing is that the Romanians declared war and attacked, but they were still mobilizing while they attacked. So up in this area, these were actually the troops that were the occupation troops during peacetime. And the war plan was they basically stormed across the border, and they wanted to basically seize areas over here for the units that mobilized to be able to come across the mountains. So these units went across the very first right at midnight, they went across. They tried to seize these areas over here. They mostly did. And then the Romanians continued to mobilize over about the next 10 days or so. So it's a little bit of an unusual situation in that even though the Romanians are the ones who declared war, they weren't fully mobilized when they did it because they wanted surprise. And they came across, they tried, and really the first step of the thing was to seize these areas where the mobilized units could cross the mountains safely. They wanted to form their armies up. They wanted to wait until everything was in place with all the logistics, the supply trains, and then advance. So the players feel that. It's got a little bit of a weird feel in the beginning because basically as the Romanians, you're attacking with all these almost all regimental size units. So you have little regimental size units fighting regimental size units that are the border forces for the Austrians. So it's very small scale combat, a lot of pushing guys out of the way, and
Technical process.
yeah, and exactly. And then later, when they get built up, then the Romanians build up into brigades, the Austrians build up in brigades, then the German divisions come in. Then the combat gets a lot heftier. It's a lot more, a lot heavier.
Okay, so I think so. I'm happy to what I see.
Yeah.
So this is good overview of the game for me.
Yeah.
And I think so we will end soon, yes?
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you very much for the opportunity to come.
Thank you for having you in the stream and to show my viewers what you bring to the convention game. Will be it's already we can buy this game on the No, not yet.
no, you can't buy it yet. We're still playtesting, but we're really towards the final stages of
And we are
playtesting.
starting also the art process.
It's not ready, but
Yeah, Vuk has started working on the map.
Yeah.
The artist who did the map for Knock Paris is going to be doing the. This is really a playtest map, and so he's going to be doing the map for this as well.
next year.
We
think
think
so.
so. We think so. Yeah.
I think so. I think that's realistic. I think 2027. Yep.
So we're waiting for big success.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's waiting for the game to be published by the Buka. And we know all we know the quality of this Buka games is very good. So I think so will be impressive to see all big map in paper
Yep.
in your room.
Absolutely.
Okay, guys.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
So you are tired, all game to playing. So
Yeah.
thank you for the stream. Thank you for this video, and see you to the next stream in the channel. I think so with the 2-3 hours I will do the next game. I will show you the next game. Thank you, guys.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Thanks.
Bye.
Pick up your dice, put your counters down. The greatest convention is coming to town. Generals, commanders, tacticians unite. Wargameron' is calling, come join the fight.